Hi, bathroom has started. Week 1 done out of 4 weeks. Little bit of a disaster week. But anyway, that's 1/4 done. And my estimates that I'll be able to model in the evenings, no, virtually zero done this whole week. Like not even looking at stuff, not even slightly organizing. So come Friday evening, which it is right now, I'm going to do a little bit different and look at 2 of the nice red box Airfix. Let's start with the Wellington, and then I'll get to that Whitley just now. I have the Lancaster as well, but I'd prefer to look at the Wellington and the Whitley. And I haven't had much of a dig in these at all, so actually sort of newish to me as well. The color pages that they give for the color schemes, I sort of feel like by this time we could have a slightly more impressive printing. You know, that printing that I showed you from the Tamiya bike, showing the real bike. Now, I know it's a little bit difficult to do the same with World War II aircraft, but I sort of feel like one could head towards that quality. I mean, this is nice, but it's still, it's getting a bit antiquated. Which one would I build? Well, do they, how different are they? Not much. So what? Yeah, well, I mean, just looking at it like that, I can hardly see any particular difference. And I guess that's the scheme. The exact letters sort of irrelevant to me at this stage. The decals, I mean, a pretty simple set. You know, they're nice, they're good, and they are adequate for the task. The instruments, so look at the top, those top instrument ones there. Not bad, not the best, but considering how much you can actually see through the cockpit window, I guess all it needs to be is sort of the hint of the instruments. I do like this red. Well, they've got 2 reds on here. You see this set here, it's actually got quite a nice red, and that one is the darker set. So that's one difference about those 2. So I like this red. So that one, what's that? Just the R, which means Royal Air Force, Feltwell, Norfolk, England, July 41. For his actions in climbing onto the wing in flight and attempting to smother an engine fire. Okay, yes. I'm sure most of you have heard that story. That's actually one of the earliest aviation stories, and I think it was in my Sun Annual that I showed in a video quite long ago, and actually I'll go and try and dig that out and go and check that again. So anyway, nice decals, simple set, but good. Instructions. So what is the green? The green is all parts that are in the kit but hardly visible. So yeah, I mean, that is one of the issues, is that you've got very nice detail, and I certainly like all the detail that they give. And then it's sort of up to the modeler as to whether you'd like to present it in a way that actually shows you a lot of the interior of these aircraft. I like the fact that they've done that in two colors, the green and the red. I do like that. I actually one of those instructions that I had a look through a little while back was sort of grayscale. This one looks a little bit better than that, in that it's still grayscale, but it's actually a bit of a nicer presentation on the eye. I do find this one somewhat appealing, and the quality of the images is good, and the transparencies are done in a ever so slight light blue. Oh no, I'm not showing you each page straight on. I just want to get a little bit of an idea. They've got sort of window open, window closed. And as I did mention, I've never built a Wellington. Oh, I have de-sprued some of these parts, so even though I can't remember it, I have actually touched this model. You know, it is very nice to see such crisply molded parts, I have to say, especially when you're a little bit used to the older style. This sort of spoils you a little bit. Very, very nice. I wonder if they... Would I be correct in saying that you don't get any sink marks anymore? Now you'll notice they've got very, very minimal thick sections on the inside. Now I'd like to think that's intentional, like for instance those are a little bit thicker, it's a little bit more plastic on the inside, and hence on the outside at that point would you see anything. Now I don't see anything there. I would show you if I saw something. I'd like to believe that they've actually done this intentionally to reduce the potential for sink marks. So that's, you know, just showing you that geodetic structure. Is that the right word? Geodetic. Very nicely done, which means the Wellington model is a very appealing one to do a half model and just let everything be open, or some form of cutaway, because there's so much stuff that they've provided. I haven't given much thought to my how I would want to display this, but it does seem like a bit of a waste in this case, having so much good interior which is not visible. This has also got the very, very nice ribbed exterior, so a very nice external character to the model. Let's see if we can hack this open with my absolutely blunt knife. I've got much better knives just outside of reach, and I keep forgetting to put one right here. A very nice glossy transparencies collection there. So much nicer than the old stuff. Wow. Really spoiled with the new stuff, hey? That is very nice. One could even potentially use the use one of the transparencies on one of the old Wellingtons, the old Airfix Wellingtons, because you've got two pieces there, and you've got the one which has got window open. I can't see immediately why there's a second one given there. 11 and 12. Oh, there's an ever so slight difference in length of the upper window. Does that mean there's a difference in angle? Yes, that's right. So there's a difference in angle on the windscreen. Anyway, very, very nice transparent pieces. The wings have got very nice geodetic surface texture. See, now that is very appealing and very different from everything else, which means that this Wellington kit, now I don't know the old one, I haven't got the old one, I don't know if I've ever even seen one, would make this such a different view when placed in a collection of World War II aircraft, because I know the Wellesley had similar structure, but I don't know if any of the models actually have this texture. So that's very, very nice. Actually, I'd sort of totally forgotten that this kit looked like that. And you know, some of the interior closed Bombay. Now they've got some very nice, I wonder if this is going to come through. Yes, do you see that there's sort of unevenness over here? They've got a sort of it's not quite aged, you know, metal pressed and bashed, and you know, in all the service it's not a perfect round piece. So that's actually very nice to see and very tempting to use if I wanted to close the Bombay. Let's just see if I can get you that. That is difficult. I don't know how I managed to get that angle right just now. Oh, I wonder if that's so. Okay, so so does that mean the Bombay doors were almost the only bits of metal? Yes, maybe. Okay. The ones in the open position have less character, I must say, even though they're all open and you've got those gaps, which sort of gives an intricate feel to it. The closed one has got a very nice effect as well. Geodetic effect on, or texture on tail planes, very well done. Engines. Firewalls. bulkhead, one of the number of bulkheads. That's very nicely done. This is, okay, so I have that one. Now that's got a lot of bombs, wheels, undercarriage, some interior bits, and guns. Oh, those guns are done very nicely. And then apart from all of that, this is what's left. So, you know, a big and sort of full looking box, and lots of very nicely produced little parts. I guess that's the oxygen bottles. Lots of interior detail, but yet when you sort of start getting all of the sub-assemblies together, it's not a ridiculous amount of parts and building. I wonder if I would put undercarriage down. Oh, sorry, not undercarriage, bomb doors. Undercarriage definitely down. Leave out all of those bombs, close that up, and have a bit more of the look of a complete Wellington. Ailerons, one piece molded, and texture. Can I get you that texture there? Sometimes I'm lucky in catching the light just right. So this is textured on both sides. But I'm not sure how much of that carried through on there. So actually all of the flying surfaces are very nicely done. Can't complain about any, can't see a single thing wrong. And this looks like a very, very nice build. So the big question is how to display this in such a way that you really take advantage of everything that's been offered. I mean, I can almost imagine, I'm not sure if a half model with all of the bulkhead interior would look the best, or a sort of a cutaway, little bits of cutaway might be the best. I'm not a fan of cutaway models, but in this case I would at least question that, because showing all of that I can definitely see as being hugely worthwhile. Okay, that was better than expected. I wasn't thinking I'd be that impressed. Oh, so that's that's the art of that guy on the wing. I actually sort of didn't quite catch that at first. I am not in general crazy about the box art of the red boxes. You know, they're not badly done for digital art, but I will take Roy Cross artwork any day. And then let's have a quick look through this one. Okay, so this one I haven't looked at all. Compare the Wellingtons set to this, and we've got some huge wing decals there, which makes this set look absolutely huge. You see the instruments there again at the top, very similar. This, if I'm guessing correctly, that is a little map. That's intended to be a little map decor, but you can print something better than that. Just grabbing something interesting off the internet, reducing it in size and printing. I probably wouldn't use that little decor. British Airways or military? I'm not sure. That's sort of the more common one that I've seen before, that color scheme. I don't really like this nose, I would say. So I think that would be my choice. Let's see if we can have a look through all of this. Okay, so it sort of looks like the airframe has been presented in, you know, broken down parts, which I'm not sure I love, but that's what they've done. So that'll be your main spar box, or depending if they've got two main spars a little bit separated. We'll soon find out. Surface detail, I mean, you know, recessed panel lines, but for obvious reasons, not the same as the Wellington by any means. Okay, so you notice on the Wellington and on this one they've got the wheel flattening. Very nice crisply made parts, intricate undercarriage, legs. The texture on the flying surfaces is there. I don't know whether you'll catch that in this. Yeah, you can just see it there. Very nice. Very nice panel representation there. Now obviously I don't know if that's highly accurate, but I would assume it is. Slightly interesting panel layout. I haven't seen sort of that sort of sequence of rectangular panels before. And then the very thick, very large wings with the rear sections with the, can I get you that? You see those ribs there? So they've got engraved, or I should say texture of the ribs on the surface. Yeah, you see that? So your leading edge will inevitably be sheet covered or even plywood covered, and then your back would be canvas covered, I'm guessing, since that's the only way that would occur. A very, very thick wing, as you know. Then we've got that and that, which must be floor. That one must be the floor, and this one must be possibly just aft of the cockpit. The lower surface a bit less textured, well, less heavily textured, but quite nicely done. Huge ailerons. So very nice. No faults whatsoever. Oh, there's a little something. What is that? Okay, there's two little blemishes. You see there, a little mismold, and there, a little mismold on the other wing surfaces. It looks okay. So those two small pieces would be okay to fill, but interesting that they are present on this Airfix kit. So when I show you like that, they're quite hard to see, but once you've seen it, you've seen it. I do like this. Oh, that's quite nice. Yes. Okay. So the texture of the grills must be the oil coolers. They do have a slight bit of sinkage on the. Oh, what is that exactly? Oh, okay, that's inadvertent. I thought it was intended, but it's only on the one side. So at first you don't see this, but if you look over there and there, do you see those little sinks? Now I thought that was just to represent, but it's because of the thicker plastic on the other side. So yes, we do have evidence of that on this, but luckily it's the nature of it is such that it could almost be believed as part of the structure. So not the worst. I wonder if that's present anywhere else. There's a little bit of surface texture of the, you know, when they pour in the plastic and you get that little bit of snakiness effect. But it shouldn't, after a primer coat, it shouldn't be visible. Anything else on the parts that I see? Yes, a little bit of sinkage there as well for the same reason. So that's there and there because of those thicker bits behind, whereas these two don't have that. But it's minor and not extremely significant. What else can I see? I mean, it all looks quite nice and quite crisp, and I don't know what was the date of release of this one. Do they still put this onto the new kits? – 2015. Okay, 2015, 10 years old in Airfix's sort of red box history. Anyway, can hardly fault that. Nothing that would put me off. It looks like a very nice model, and I would certainly recommend it. The Wellington has certainly got a fuller interior, so this model, you know, there's no question you'd build it complete and not be feeling bad about covering up too much of the amount of stuff that they have supplied. Oh, okay, I've just spotted possibly the worst of the sink marks. So there are sink marks. There are sink marks on the main spar over there and there due to the detail behind, but can I show you that? Not sure if you're going to see that there. And that is because of those things. I first thought they wouldn't have done anything, but they do. And of course, this is a bit of a thicker plastic. Now, you do have the ejector pin marks on the one side, but it's not the worst. But the ones that I wanted to show you, which I didn't spot at first, is on the main fuselage. So there are sink marks here, and worse over there, and that is because of that triangle there, and because of those blobs. Well, when I say blobs, I mean rectangle details. So even that sort of flattish don't know if you can see that, but there's sink marks which you would have some trouble filling, and they're in a shape which is a little bit awkward because they're sort of somewhat obviously triangular. In fact, this piece down here, that bit makes it look as if it's a large triangle on the outer surface, that piece, and then extending into that triangle. So yeah, I think they try and reduce any large things on the inside, and yet even those bits of interior detail are causing sink marks. How off-putting is that? It's unfortunate. I'm not sure if I would fill that, because you're going to have to work panel lines, and I know some of you will say, well, it's not the worst to rework panel lines. I would evaluate that a little bit carefully. It's unfortunate that it's in the shape of a triangle, because it makes it a bit more obvious than thinking that you could pass it off as wear and tear on the aircraft. So I guess a little bit of filling might be required there. On this, I'm not sure why, but there's a little bit of sinkage on this piece there, but it's not for anything that's on the inside. Oh, and there are sink marks there. Okay, I didn't spot that at first. On this wing piece, over, well, there's some over there, over there, over there, and that's basically for anything large on the other side. So that's causing one, that's causing one, that is causing something. Now, due to the location and shape of them, you can ignore them. They can be passed off. It's just those ones on the front fuselage that are a bit unfortunate. Still very nice. I won't open the transparencies right now, but they're just as good as the Wellington. Quite nice and thin. And the instructions are obviously very much on a par with the Wellington, just less interior detail. And I just want to check what the date is on the Wellington and see how close that is to this date. So this one, 2018. So I'm guessing they really are still, struggling with the sink mark issue. And I suppose each designer within reason of their design of the kit tries to reduce it, but I think they need to do a little bit better job. I mean, these, at what point do you sort of start expecting perfection? I'm not sure, but it's the digital age, it's CAD, it's you've got the ability to provide the parts for all of the interior details by making them separate items. So I can quite see that you can get away with providing parts that would cause you to not have to have sink marks in most of the cases. I know I make it sound easy, like I know what they go through as designers, but anyway, not bad. I'd sort of give them a 95%, I guess. The Wellington 95 and the Whitley 90% or 90 something percent. Not bad. I do like them and I would recommend them. And maybe I do need to look at the Lancaster and see how that matches up with these two. Okay, that's a little bit of a longer one for today. Happy modeling. Cheers.